Hi there, and welcome to this episode of the Google Partners Elevenses Hangout series brought to you by the UK agency team. So today we're very excited to be here to chat to you about Customer Match. It's the newest product released by Google just in the last few weeks. And I'm sure some of you have heard a little bit of whisperings about this product, either through the blog or maybe you tuned into the last Elevenses Hangout and you got a little bit of a taster of what Customer Match is. But today myself and Natalie are just going to go through exactly what the product is, how to use it, and how to incorporate it into your marketing strategy. My name is Laura Lenihan. I'm on the UK agency team as an account strategist.
And my name is Natalie O'Keefe, and I'm also on the UK agency team as an agency development manager.
Great. So let's start looking at exactly what Customer Match is. So essentially what it is, it's the newest product by Google that allows you to reach your customers by using existing customer email lists to reach your most valuable audience across 3 of Google's largest properties. That's Search, Gmail, and YouTube. You'll notice here that GDN isn't included, but Gmail is a part of the GDN, and so we're just introducing it through that at the moment. So there's 3 big properties that you can reach your audience across the web. So one of the most important messages about Customer Match, and if you go away today remembering nothing else, please remember that essentially what it is it allows you to reach your customers by driving messages across different devices and channels in a way that's relevant to them. So essentially, this is massive in that it's bridging the gap between offline and online, and it means you can reach your users across 3 massive platforms, all devices, in ways that are relevant to them, regardless of how they interacted with your business. So essentially, it's bringing your brand and your products closer to your customers. So let's have a look at exactly how massive that is. So on Google Search, there's billions of monthly searches where your customers are there, engaged, and ready in those where is, I want to know moments. Billions of opportunities to reach them there. And then on YouTube, over 1 billion monthly users for those I want to know how to, teach me how to DIY moments where engagement is really massive. And then lastly, through Gmail for the I want to connect, I want to speak about, I want to learn about, and I want to talk to people and businesses that matter to me. We have 900 million monthly active users. So it's a lot of opportunity and a lot of different ways that Customer Match can actually connect you to your customer. So how can it actually connect you, and in what ways that will be relevant for your marketing strategy? So there's 3 ways essentially that I think it will work well. So the first is target customers that you know. So look at driving loyalty, look at that upsell, cross-sell element where you're actually speaking to customers that you know are bought in, that you know are interested. It leaves very little kind of risk in terms of how you target them, and you can just offer them that extra element that will keep them engaged with your brand. Secondly, a completely different strategy. If you just want to look at prospecting and reaching new audiences, you can exclude the people that are already bought in so that you know you're exclusively reaching new people that want to know about your brand. And the third one is my personal favorite because I think there's so much opportunity and so many interesting ways you can incorporate this into your strategy. So you can reach users similar to your customers. So this already exists for remarketing lists in the GDN, and we're just bringing it to Customer Match purely because it allows you to bridge that offline-online gap. So if you think about maybe a customer that signed up for your loyalty program in store, they're offline, but this gives you the option to reach them online and reach similar people to them. So not only are you keeping it relevant, but you're massively opening up your reach to new engaged audiences. Slight technical error here. One moment. Great. So Natalie's now just going to bring you through exactly how to talk to your customers in different ways with that information.
Doesn't seem to be moving on the screen yet. So just looking at, I suppose, how to harness your customer data to meet your marketing objectives. Customer Match is ultimately, I suppose, really applicable across the entire funnel. Everything from generating awareness right down to increasing loyalty. So if you start to think about the see, think, do, care model, there's applications of Customer Match across all of those parts of the funnel. So if you think about generating awareness,
Great, so just a slight technical error there, but we're going to continue on.
We're back. Thanks for your patience, everybody. So Laura briefly just touched on the 3 ways that you can use Customer Match to target your customers. And now I'm just going to look at how you can harness your customer data to meet your marketing objectives. So before we went offline briefly, I was going through how Customer Match is applicable throughout all phases of the marketing funnel. Everything from see through think, do, and care. So you can ultimately use Customer Match to generate awareness by potentially excluding customers that you already know to find new ones, influencing consideration of your existing products through tailored messaging, driving purchases by connecting with your customers when they show intent to buy. For example, signing up for a loyalty program in store or signing up for a newsletter. And ultimately then driving repeat purchases and increasing loyalty among that customer base. So using the customers that you already do know and driving additional value through them based on what you know about them. And not only is Customer Match applicable through all stages of the funnel through the data that you have, but it's also applicable through the funnel through the platforms that you have. So you have everything from YouTube to drive awareness to the likes of Gmail and search to drive repeat business or purchase. This Customer Match framework should look very familiar to those of you who already use Remarketing List for Search Ads, or RLSA as it's fondly known as. And it ultimately follows the exact same framework as RLSA for the reason that this Customer Match framework should just slot into your existing audience strategy. So if you're already using RLSA and you're already using remarketing, Customer Match should really complement this. And I'll touch on that briefly in the next slide. But just to go through the framework, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, first of all, you're going to want to target all your users. So upload that CRM database, which Laura will go through, and then apply that CRM list to all campaigns. Reason being is every CRM database is different and unique in its own way. And you need to apply those lists to establish performance differences between that database and potentially other RLSA lists that you have in place, or just users who haven't been to your site before. Once you've established those performance differences, that's when you can start managing your bids based on campaign performance, assigning higher bids to those who are of more value to you based on their performance on your site or based on previous engagement with your business. And then you start to get into the really advanced stuff. So segmenting your users based on value or even based on messaging needs. And again, making sure that you're tying it into your other remarketing strategies like RLSA. And finally, this is just applicable for Gmail and YouTube, but using that Customer Match data and that CRM data to actually reach new and similar users across Gmail and YouTube. And that's really exciting. So looking at how Customer Match integrates with your existing audience strategy, I'm sure there's a lot of questions going around about, do we replace RLSA with Customer Match? Do we, how does this fit into my overall remarketing strategy? And the answer is it really should just slot into the existing strategy that you have in place. It is designed to complement. And I think this visualization works really well to kind of talk to that. So if you look at this gray bubble, it looks at everybody that interacts with your business. Not all businesses are pure play online, and you'll ultimately have a number of customers that interact with you in ways that aren't just visiting your website. So you'll have somebody that goes into your store and signs up for a loyalty offer, or somebody that purchases at the till and gives their email address for a competition that you've been running that month. And you'll also have all the users that have been visiting your site, and we target them really well already. So across desktop, tablet, and mobile, we're collecting these users into remarketing lists, and we're retargeting them again across RLSA and across the GDN through remarketing. But when we start to think about becoming a bit more device agnostic, how do we target one single user across all devices? And how do we target that user that signed up for that competition at the till last week? Well, that's where Customer Match comes in. So that really starts to close the gap between that big grey bubble of all the users that interact with your business and previously all the users that we were able to target. So now we have a full picture of all the users that we have that are interacting with our business and a strong way to connect them across all our audience strategies. And to stick with the strategy, just to leave you with some ideas to get you started. I'm sure that you will have more ideas again once you go away and think about it, but a couple of ideas that we have that we think could work really well is, first of all, targeting users beyond 180 days. So typically the list length for Remarketing List for Search Ads is 180 days, and then the user drops out, no more to be seen unless they come back to your site again. But what if somebody bought from you last year and you want to target them again this year because you have a sale on at the same time every year? You can take that email data from last year, upload it into the system, and target them again for a further 6 months, which is amazing. You can also use offline data. So speaking to that point about somebody signing up for a competition at the till or a loyalty program that you only have in store. Again, it's taking that and marrying it with online behavior, and I suppose using that data then to actually target users across all those devices, which comes on to my third point, is the single user view. So making sure that you are, I suppose, device agnostic and targeting the user no matter where they are, depending on, I suppose, what the most relevant message that you want to serve to them is. And the most important point for me is maximizing always on ROI. So you already have accounts in place, you already have campaigns in place that are generating really strong performance for you or your clients. And adding customer match and adding CRM data to that can really enhance the performance of those existing campaigns, even before you start to expand your strategy to prospecting or similar audiences. So adding, like we said in that framework, adding the user lists to those campaigns and using the performance differences between the CRM data and your all visitors data to see how you can actually segment and personalize the messaging that you serve. And finally, then coming on to the fourth step in that framework is segmenting by customer type. So thinking about the value that you assign to customers and thinking about the purchase types. So do you have high value products, and do you have a certain subset of customers that are more likely to purchase those products? Can we segment out those users and target them in very different ways? Or can we target them by whether or not they've purchased or signed up for a newsletter? So all of these strategies are just some ideas to get you started. And now Laura is going to talk to you about the actual how-to of implementation.
Great, thanks Natalie. Some really interesting ideas there. So we're just going to go through exactly how it works, both in the account and from Google's point of view. So actually creating lists. So from Google's point of view, this is how it works. So first of all, your lists are uploaded into your AdWords accounts. Once they're uploaded, those are matched with existing Google accounts. So regardless of whether that's at gmail.com or using a different platform, if it's matched to a Google account, you can target it. So thirdly then, this is an important point. Once they're uploaded, those lists are deleted. So once they're matched with those Google accounts, we have all the information we need, and we absolutely delete that CSV information. So this is crucial because it means you're in the driver's seat when it comes to actually managing those lists, and Google doesn't have access to your customer data. So fourthly and finally, after processing, you're ready to go. Those lists are targetable and you're ready to use them as part of your strategy. So within your actual AdWords campaign, very similar to remarketing lists. For those of you that have used them, you'll be very comfortable with this process. For those of you that haven't, just pop into your shared library on the left-hand lower side of your AdWords account and pop into your Audiences tab, and you'll see this red button here, plus Remarketing List. So the whole strategy is incorporating the remarketing element to add into your remarketing strategy by using these customer lists. So if you see here the third one, just select customer emails, and you'll be brought through to this section. Just name that list so you know if you're referencing when you're going through adding it to your campaigns, you know exactly which list you're referencing. Choose the file to upload from your hard drive, and once it's uploaded, now it says to do it at this stage, I would recommend just grabbing yourself a cup of tea after this training, go through the Google policies and make sure that your clients are actually able to use this product. So for a lot of you, it'll be absolutely fine. For a small amount of products or small amount of businesses, it won't be applicable. Then the next step is an important one too. So it's an email opt-out link. So you'll be prompted to put in a URL for that opt-out link. This essentially just gives you the option as a customer to either opt in or opt out of that message. Now that's valuable both for the customer and for the business, because the business is only speaking to people who are engaged and actually want to hear their message. The customer is only actually receiving information that they want, and therefore they're more likely to actually purchase or engage with that business. And then finally, this is something that Natalie touched on, so the custom list duration. So the maximum is 180 days, and that maximum is the amount of time that that user's cookie can exist on that list. So as Natalie said, we're coming up to the holidays. If you have maybe some kind of loyalty program or someone that you want to target that purchased at the holidays this time last year, you can upload those in, but you can only actually use that list to target those people for a maximum of 180 days with those cookies. And then finally, you're in the driver's seat, as I mentioned, so you're able to actually manage these lists within your AdWords campaign, depending on whether people actually opt in or opt out. So you just pop into your shared library again, just edit the list, and if somebody's opted in, you can select to add more email addresses and click Save. If someone's opted out, just remove those email addresses and it will update. Now, we'd recommend doing this very regularly, obviously, to make sure everything is relevant to the user and to the business. So at least weekly, I would recommend going in, just updating the opt-ins and opt-outs, clicking save, no hassle. Great, so just a summary of the different ways you can add those lists, slightly different in each of the search, Gmail, and YouTube, but in each, it's just going into the remarketing option and just adding it same way in search as you would RLSA, same way in Gmail as you would in the display or in the campaign creation flow, and in YouTube in the remarketing section.
And the most exciting piece of all, just going to leave you guys on a couple of points. So just first of all, making sure that you understand that we take privacy seriously, and that all email lists are uploaded securely via SSL. So depending on your preference, those lists can be hashed or unhashed. Once you check out the Google policies, you can get a bit more information on that. But as Laura said earlier on, also the email lists are deleted once they're uploaded and ready to target. Second of all, individual files can be no larger than 17 megs in size, have to be in a CSV file, and 17 megs equates to approximately 500,000 email addresses. For anybody who is familiar with the AdWords API, you can use the API for scaled uploads, so for more than 500,000 email addresses, or alternatively just do multiple uploads if you have more than 500,000. And make sure, most importantly, this comes back to the policies, grab a cup of tea, go through the policies. You can only upload email addresses that you collected directly from your customers and have permission to use. And that's why it's really important to keep those lists fresh and updated. And finally, then allow your users to opt out of advertising or of, I suppose, email from you should they see fit. And that's where the email link comes in. So again, making sure that we're keeping it relevant at all times.
Great, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure introducing the new product to you. For more information, contact your Google rep. Everyone's excited and looking forward to chatting to you more about how it actually works for your businesses. And please tune in to Elevenses on the 25th of November for the next episode. We'll be looking at attribution, which I know a lot of you have questions around, so it should be really interesting. If you have more people in the office that didn't get a chance to tune in, this will be available on YouTube. Feel free to share it around and make sure that everybody's excited about this new product coming right to you. Great, thanks guys. See you soon.
Bye.